Father John G. Hiring was the pastor of Holy Family at the time. He came to Tulsa, arriving in 1906, back really before Tulsa had organized as a town. Oklahoma was a baby state. This was actually Indian Territory before it was Oklahoma. And Father Hiring came, he inherited a very small wood frame church, and before he turned the age of 40, he had built the present-day Holy Family Cathedral. That's a pretty remarkable accomplishment for a young guy. And he was trying to shepherd school children, all those families that went to Holy Family School. He also had a very rapidly growing parish full of a lot of Irish Catholic immigrants who were working in the oil fields. And so he saw Tulsa grow. He grew to really love the town and love everybody who was part of it. In the mid-20s, there was a Ku Klux Klan rally in Tulsa and a parade where white-robed men marched all throughout downtown. Father Hiring stood on the front steps of Holy Family, and there were no locks on the doors. And so he defended it against any possible incursion from any Klan member during that parade. Father Hiring further continued his work in trying to promote equality and racial justice in Tulsa at the cost of his own safety. Now let's back up and look at some of the history. From what I understand from our records, which are very small from that time, there was a young man named Dick Rowland who worked in downtown Tulsa. Some of the histories say that maybe he was a shoe shiner who worked either out on the street or inside a building on the ground floor around downtown Tulsa. Being a young black man, he was not allowed to use restrooms that others would use. And so he made friends with someone who worked up on the third floor of the building that would let him use their office restroom. So he rode the elevator from the ground floor up to the top floor of this building, and there was an elevator operator. At the time, you'd have someone who'd go into the elevator and push the buttons for you. And when the doors opened up on the top floor of the building, the elevator operator was saying that he had assaulted her. And they took young Mr. Rowland into custody, and a large pair of crowds formed outside the Tulsa County Courthouse. There were a group of basically white men who were ready to punish Dick Rowland for a crime that he was not yet convicted of. And then there was a group of black men who were ready to defend him. They were all armed because many of them had served in the First World War, and they got to bring home their rifles with them. So they all had working firearms. A lot of the black men were disarmed and sent back to the north side of Tulsa. They were going to release Dick Rowland because the woman in the elevator had recanted of her accusation. But at this point, it was his safety. Mr. Rowland would get killed if they had released him out onto the city streets. So they kept him in custody. Tensions got worse, and eventually fighting broke out. There was gunfire that took place. It happened not very far from the current site of Holy Family Cathedral. It was just up the street at about 6th and Boulder. The night that the riot broke out took place when we were having graduation or a school play at what was then called the Tulsa Convention Center. It was later renamed to the Brady Theater and is currently called the Tulsa Theater. But we were having a series of presentations there in the theater, and at that point the riot broke out. The pastor who was present attended. He stood up, he went up on the stage and said, "A horrible race riot has broken out. You all need to go home right now. Parents, don't let go of your children's hands as you take them home. Get home, close the windows, shut off the lights, and be quiet. Dads, grab a couple cans of food and come meet me at the church. We have work to do." It was through these doors that refugees from Tulsa's race massacre entered Holy Family Cathedral. They found their way down into this room, the Hiring Auditorium, named after Father John Hiring. We probably fed about 250 women and children the first night. Then some of the histories say about 150 the next night, maybe 75 or 100 the third night. And so when half of Tulsa was burning, he had to respond. And so he was really the lead person, as a pastor should be, in organizing this church to be responsive to the refugees of the Tulsa Race Massacre. And it was an interesting time because we had probably parishioners who were victims of the riot, and maybe victims, or maybe parishioners who were on the other side of the riot causing some of the trouble. So it was definitely a divided parish at the time. But we were unified in helping the refugees from the riot. One of the histories I read that says that of about the 11,000 black people who lived in Tulsa, 10,000 were left homeless after some 35, 36 blocks of residences were burned to the ground. It's interesting to think about what we can all take away from this event. There's cultural impacts, there's spiritual impacts. Cultural, of course, today in 2025, we can see the pain that was caused by the race massacre. I don't know that we've learned all the lessons from it yet, but we know what happened, and we don't want to repeat it. Spiritually, we know that God loves everyone. Looking back at Pope St. John Paul II, he said that every single human being is unique and unrepeatable. We are that special in God's eyes. And for half of Tulsa to try to burn the other half down is certainly a violation of that human dignity. And that was something that Hiring worked really hard to promote. He also had 2 associate pastors. Those are priests who help the lead pastor, if you will, in a Catholic church. They eventually formed a group that went on to found St. Monica's Catholic Church in near North Tulsa. They wanted to be part of the healing process. So as Black Wall Street, which was the most prosperous black community in all of the United States before the riot happened, they were able to build the black community back slowly over the next few years. And it was St. Monica's Catholic Church that was our visible sign of trying to promote healing in Tulsa after the riots. So he's a hero of mine. If I make it to heaven, he's one of the first guys I want to look up because he was so key to Tulsa's history.